What's up, party people, and welcome back to another episode of NYC Foodways, your weekly food and culture discussion from the cultural capital of the world. My name is John, and this week's episode is dedicated to Captain Sasha Peshursky, a Soviet Army officer who led the uprising at the Sobibor death camp during World War II, and one of the finest examples of Jewish heroism in the modern era. Wunderchosen, for those unfamiliar, was a short-lived TV show initially broadcast on MTV2 in the early part of this millennium. Wunderchosen is funny and subversive, extremely so on both counts, and is a major influence on my own comedic and aesthetic sensibilities. To this day, I don't know how its creators managed to secure funding for it, from MTV no less, but I'm eternally grateful for the fact that they did, because I believe Wunderchosen to be the best example of a TV show that, with apologies to Audre Lorde, uses the master's tools to dismantle the master's house. And though it only lasted 2 seasons, it gave its creators enough popularity to land another development deal, this time with Adult Swim, one that would produce the difficult-to-describe Xavier Renegade Angel. Your low-level, culturally moronic friends may tell you that Wunderchosen is too weird for them, but they will straight up leave the room if you put on Xavier Renegade Angel. Good. I'm convinced that Xavier Renegade Angel's creators made its namesake character, Xavier, as difficult to look at and as absurd in presentation as possible, so as to make the show's messages require a certain level of study to fully comprehend. Comprehension and television do not typically go hand in hand. The medium lends itself to intentional not knowing, but Xavier Renegade Angel, like Wunderchosen before it, slices through the typical intellectual limitations of mass media to give its viewers some extraordinarily powerful and extraordinarily humorous lessons and takeaways. This show is a lot, more than a lot, but one of its creators described it succinctly as fundamentally about the dangers of spirituality. This description has stuck with me over the years, as the dangers of spirituality are ones I am quite familiar with. Capital's gaping maw knows no unwanted sustenance, and in the current year, the realm of the spirit has been fully monetized by more bullshit artists than you can shake a microdose at. We seekers, and you all know that I am one to the core, are thus because of something missing from our lives, and the lying schmucks who use this seeking as a means to enrich themselves, or to gain access to the bodies of others, or even just to feel powerful, are extremely dangerous. The messages they sell, that enlightenment costs a certain amount of money, payable in installments, that your truth can be known if you only were to listen to them long enough, that you need to travel to a certain physical place to see and hear a physical being in order to gain wisdom, are sickening and fraught with danger. The realm of the spirit is absolutely, undoubtedly, 100% an internal realm. No, the internal realm, and anyone who preaches otherwise is full of I should know. I've been around people my entire life ensnared by the charlatans of the spirituality business, and it really is a business, so I know firsthand exactly how dangerous things can get. The 60s were a heady time for young people in this country. It felt like every week there was a world-altering event, and the younger generation was the driving force behind the changes reaching across the globe. As the 70s dawned and the state had regrouped to fight the more radical and potentially revolutionary segments of the population, many formerly idealistic young people grew disillusioned with the real risks that arrive with living a life of solidarity, one that the OG Bill Ayers describes as a life that does not make a mockery of one's values. The leadership of the Black Panthers was murdered or driven into exile. The hard work of living communally ground many down, then out. Assassinations were commonplace, and the war raged on. But the spirit of the 60s still lived in the hearts and wallets of many boomers who continued to seek what so many of us are looking for and what so few have found, meaning something that had seemed so firmly in their grasp just years ago. Out of this void of meaning sprung, fully formed like Athena, the New Age movement, combining 18th and 19th century esoteric ideas, vaguely Vedic philosophy, corrupted Buddhist teachings, and more than a fair bit of classic American hucksterism, dozens of laughably fake New Age gurus and so-called channels began cropping up in the late 70s and early 80s as the faces of this money-driven spiritual movement. If I live to be 1,000, I will still never understand how these people could be taken seriously by anyone. To describe the naked absurdity of their act is an insult to actors everywhere, but the basic premise of many of these con artists is that they have been ordained and are frequently inhabited by a being or beings from another dimension or time who have chosen them as a human vessel or channel for their teachings. They're on Earth to enlighten humanity, of course. They want you to listen to them, ideally in person, and most important, they need your money. Yuck. What pains me about these liars and the massive money-grabbing apparatus that has sprung up around them is not that they are fraudulent egomaniacs preying on the insecurities of the weak and lost. No, what pains me is that there are so many weak and lost in the world so as to support such an industry. Don't get me wrong, despite their outlandish presentation, these so-called channels all affect ridiculous accents when inhabited by the Holy Spirit. These people have held masses of others and their funds under sway. This is the danger of spirituality. Capitalism's ability to pervert any aspect of humanity makes the very aspect of humanity that makes us human, the spirit, the ultimate marketing tool. By appealing to our essence, by offering belonging to a group of seemingly like-minded enlightened ones, by providing warmth to those who feel left out in the cold because of their circumstances of their life, the dangerous dealers of spirituality have caused untold damage to themselves, their brainwashed victims, and the families around those victims who are forced to watch their loved ones plunge, lemming-like, off the cliff of reality into the abyss of nonsense. Spirituality is extremely powerful, and power, despite one of the many lies we were taught in school, can be used for good or ill. I know you are missing something. We all are. But I urge you not to seek it anywhere outside of yourself, because by ceding your internal power to an external force or being, you are in danger of losing what cannot be regained. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week for another episode of NYC Foodways. Peace.